Hello, Thrivers, and welcome to the Thrivers podcast. I'm your host, Gideon-Faj, and today we'll be talking about something very important, something that is feared, misunderstood, and then mostly avoided. And what I'm talking about is failure. And I'm not just going to be talking about failure because I feel like most of us have had our experience of it. But it's not just talk about failure. I'm hoping to communicate to us how we can maximize failure, how not to see failure as an end in itself, but to see it as part of a larger journey. So that's what I hope to achieve by the end of this podcast session, and I hope you stay glued. Okay, welcome back from that short break. So this next session, this segment of the podcast, I want us to do something very critical, and that is redefining failure. Because I feel like it's very important that we define it before we go ahead. We talk about how you can now start maximizing it, because that's one of the issues most people have. They have an issue with redefining failure. So first and foremost, failure is not final. Do you get that? Failure is not final. It is part of a story. It is part of your journey. No, most people they see when they see failure, when they experience failure, they see it as the end. That there's nothing good that can come out of their lives again. Because you tried to write a proposal, it was rejected. You believe that it means that your proposal can never be accepted. But failure is not final. Failure is only a feedback. Failure is not final. It is a feedback. When you do something and you get a feedback, the same way success also, when you do something and then it's accepted, you assume that you have achieved success. But in this case now, failure also is a feedback. It's not final. So when you experience that bump on the road, so failure is like a bump on the road. It's not final. It's just a feedback. Do you get? So another thing I want us to redefine here is that failure does not say you're a failure. It says something didn't work out this time around. I don't know if you get that. Most times the issue with most people is that they don't see failure as an event. They see failure as who they are. Maybe as an entrepreneur, you have tried so many things many times, or you keep failing. You try to do this business, it failed. You try to do many things, it failed. So because of that, you might not want to enter that zone where you feel like you're a failure. Like there's nothing good that you can do. There's nothing great that can come out of you. Whereas failure is just a part of the process. I'm saying it again. Failure is a part of the process. Failure is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's not final. It's only part of the process. It's only part of the process. It's just what failure means is that what you are trying to do did not work out this time. So what that means that next time what you need to do is what to reiterate. But we'll still talk about it further into this in this podcast. So first and foremost, understand that failure does not mean that you're a failure. You have to know that failure is just an event. Failure does not define you. Failure does not define you. Failure is an event. It is not your person. It's not who you are. So if you stop seeing failure as who you are, rather as an event, you know that an event can happen again. You can look at it from that perspective. Okay, what is wrong with this event? What happened? What decisions did I make wrong? Okay, what were the iterations I need? What are the decisions I need to make this particular thing come out well? But when you see failure as a person, it puts you in a zone whereby you give up on yourself. Because if you feel like you can't become better, there's nothing good that can come out of you. So failure is not final. Yes, failure is not. It does not mean you're a failure. When you fail, it does not mean you're a failure. It just means that what you try to do did not work out this time. So you have to start seeing failure as an event and not as who you are. Another thing I want us to talk about is that failure is not the opposite of success, but rather it is part of success. And that's why many people have failed. That I know they feel that they've not been able to figure out the fact that failure is not the opposite of success. I don't know if you get that. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Look at any great man. I'm saying it again. Look at any great man today, and they will tell you that they've experienced failure at some point. Most of them, they've lost billions, they've lost money, they've invested into things that didn't yield well. Some people, somebody will see it as failure. Recently, $10 released a book, and then people are sharing a portion of the book where it was owing almost all the banks in Nigeria, all the big banks in Nigeria, billions of naira, billions of naira. And I saw somebody commented that if I'm the one, if I owe somebody like 20 naira, like naira, I would feel like the world is ending. But if you see failure, because most of these people they experience failure, that's a form of failure. Donald Trump said that there was a time it was his net worth was minus now $1 million thereabouts. But that was not the end. So failure is not the opposite of success. It's only part of the journey. It's only part of the journey. What failure does is that it makes you see what you need to work on. It makes you see, okay, what didn't work. Failure is not final. Failure is part of the process. It's part of the process. Failure is what makes us sweet. If you have not experienced failure at any point in your life, then you might want to think that maybe life comes easy. But we know for a fact that life is not easy. It is not easy to just wake up a day and then want to try something. No. So failure is like it's like a bump on the road. Failure does not mean that you will not succeed eventually. Failure is just saying, okay, the way you are trying to do it this time around will not work. Will not work. Many times, the truth is that when we look at all these big companies, we feel like, they have achieved great things. When you look at Apple, look at, they had great products like, iPhone, they have Mac, the MacBooks and all those stuff. But if you do a big research, into their background, into their product, you find out that there are many products that they have actually made also that failed. There are many products that they have tried to put out there that failed miserably. So if they had seen failure as a person, they would have packed up. You wouldn't have had maybe iPhone today. You wouldn't have had maybe most of these are great products that they are coming out, that they are releasing, almost yearly these days. So failure is part of the journey, it's not the end. So the next thing we'll be talking about is why failure is necessary. Yes, why failure is necessary. Number one, it reveals blind spots. When you make mistakes, you see the mistakes you have made. When you fail at a particular thing, you see the mistakes you have made. You see how better you can do it. It reveals, okay, if this thing had gone through, it's impossible that it would have failed. But now, it failing now means that, okay, there's something better you can do. It means that let's try and find another way to close these blind spots. That's what failure is necessary. Another point is that it forces innovation and creativity. When you fail, failure makes you see that, first and foremost, you have to believe that everything is possible. There's nothing that is impossible. So when you fail, don't see that thing is not possible again. See that there's something, maybe there's a way you need to do it. There's a way you need to present that thing better to make sure it comes out as a success. So failure forces innovation and creativity. Number three is that failure builds humility. Have you seen someone that has not failed? That person will be very, 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 very pride, full of pride. If everything you have tried, it has, it succeeded. If everything you tried succeeded, every business you tried scaled without issues, then you'll be a very prideful person. So one of the things that failure does, that failure makes you humble. That okay, yes, you can make mistakes. Also, you're a woman. You're not superwoman. You're a human. So you fail. So it builds humility and resilience. That's if you can channel it properly. So that's why failure is necessary. If you can channel failure properly, it will reveal blind spot to you. If you can channel failure properly, it forces innovation and creativity. And thirdly, if you can channel failure properly, it will build humility in you and it will build resilience. Have you heard about Thomas Edison? We have it on record. No stories that Thomas Edison, he tried 1,000 plus times before he finally arrived at that bulb we are using right now. He tried 1,000 plus times. He tried it, so he kept Check, trying to see what other way have I not explored. That's where innovation and creativity comes in. What can I try again? What can I add to this thing? What other thing? What can I remove? What can I add to the equation to make it better? So that's what creativity does. So failure is necessary because it helps you to reveal blind spots. As an athlete, when they fail, they want to check, okay, so that they can prepare further for the next game. So, like it or not, there's something that failure does for you. And that's what I say. Failure reveals blind spots. It reveals blind spots to you. Failure forces innovation and creativity, and it builds humility and resilience. Yes. So I want us to discuss next now the common wrong responses to failure. The common wrong responses to failure. Number one, you blame others. If you ever find yourself blaming others after you experience failure, then you're on the wrong side of it. Then you're not making the best of failure. When you experience failure, is a time for you to reflect, not to blame others. If you ever find yourself, you quit, you quit prematurely. That's a very wrong response to failure. Quitting prematurely is the wrong response to failure. When you experience failure, it's not a time for you to quit. Because you experience a bump in the road, then you imagine that you are going on a journey, and then there's a bump on the road. Then when you climb the road, then you're seeing that this is a bump. Do you turn back when you see a bump on the road? No. You climb over it and you go to the next. If there's another bump, you climb over it and you go to the next. That's progress. Having a bump on the road does not mean that you quit prematurely. It means that you go further, you press further. That's what it means. So another common response to failure is self-pity. Have you ever asked me that saying why me? Why me? So always seeking sympathy. That's a very wrong response to failure. Self-pity is not a good response to failure. In fact, when you fail, it's one of it's one of those critical times that you need to motivate yourself and then bring yourself back up. Because if you dwell too much on failure, dwell too much on that failure, and then put yourself in a self-pity mode where you're like, you just why me? Why me? Is it only me? No, that's a very wrong response to failure. If you dwell on that too much, you get swallowed up. Many people after failure they enter depression. Let me be practical. Many people, one of the reasons why people commit suicide after they ask a lady out and the lady says no, or you're in a relationship and then relationship failed, is because what they dwell so much on self-pity. They're asking themselves, why me? Am I the only one in this world? Just yourself, work on yourself, become a better person. See it as a part of the progress. When you're telling yourself, when you're telling your story and then telling your story of how you have made it, you make mention of a time that everybody was rejecting you until you finally found your wife. Glory to God. Okay. Another common wrong response to failure is ignoring the lessons and repeating cycles. So now it's not just about taking off after a particular moment of failure and then launching into the next thing. No, you have to reflect. So most people they don't reflect on those seasons. Okay, why did this thing fail? So most people they don't learn the lessons from the failure. They don't learn their lessons from the failure. After they fail at a particular time, they just stand up and then the next thing is that they're trying new things. They are trying to do it again. So they are repeating a cycle of failure. At that point, there's something wrong with you that you need to check. So when you experience failure, it's not a time for you to just pick off immediately and then go on. No, check what is wrong with your formula. What did you do wrong? Learn the lesson so that you not repeat cycle. Yes, so that you not repeat cycle. So let's go to the next one. Next point here is how to maximize failure. Now, how do you maximize failure? How do you maximize failure? Number one, own it. See, most times people is part of the things we'll be discussing in this podcast, victim mindset. Most people find themselves in that spot where you know they don't own mistakes, they don't own failures, they don't accept it as an event, they discard it. So one of the first thing you need to do to maximize failure is to own it. Okay, it has happened. Don't try and be dismissive. Don't live in denial. Living in denial is you not living in reality. Don't live in denial. It has happened. Own it. Now the next is to analyze it. Own it, analyze it. What went wrong? What can I learn from this particular occasion? So after you own it, you analyze it. What did I do wrong? What went wrong? How can I do it better? And number three is extract your lesson. So after you have analyzed it, there are many things that no lessons will come to, okay. I shouldn't have done this. I should have done this. So extract your lessons. The next one is apply it. After apply it immediately. After you have extracted your lessons, ensure you apply it immediately. Don't wait. Don't wait and then you're not postponing before procrastination enters. After you have learned your lesson, first ensure that after you have extracted your lesson, ensure that you apply it immediately. Keep going. Ensure that the wheel keeps turning. Ensure that the wheel keeps turning. Don't pause. Apply it immediately. I've seen myself in situations whereby most times I find out that maybe I make a mistake. I try and do something and then I make a mistake. And then I find out that, okay, I withdraw. Okay, I've learned my lesson. This thing is wrong. Okay, I withdraw to analyze and all those. Okay, this is what I did wrong. I didn't talk like this properly. I should have spoken like this. The next thing to do is not to now wait. Not to now maybe now withdraw. So I've learned my lesson. So after your lesson, whatever you have learned your lesson, what have you done? So the point of learning a lesson is not just to learn the lesson, it's to apply it. So after you have learned your lesson, you need to apply it. The next thing you need to do is to not to reframe your mindset. It's very important because you can't talk about mindset. You can't talk about maximizing failure without talking about mindset, because what is holding many people down is their mindset. They don't have the right mindset. So reframe your mindset so that you know that, okay, this is just an event. Reframe your mindset that even if you try after you have extracted your lesson and you try it again, it's possible that you will still experience failure, but that's still not the end. You go through the process again and you keep working on your mindset, because the reason why you're working on your mindset is that so that the lessons you have learned can be properly instituted in you, so that you can be one with that lesson. That's why most people, they just learn, but they don't apply it. It doesn't cause a mind shift in them because they are not reframing their mindset. So at this point, I want us to talk about the thriving perspective. Because it's Travis podcast. Trust me, we need to talk about the thriving perspective, to failure. And the first thing here is that failure is proof that you tried. Failure is an evidence that you tried. See, you are better than somebody that didn't try at all. The fact that you tried and failed means that you are better than someone that did not try at all. It means that you made an attempt. So failure is evidence that you tried. Failure is an evidence that you tried. Have you heard about a warrior without a scar? No, you have not heard. I'm sure you have not heard. So failure is like a scar. It's like you tried. So when you have tried, you see this is an evidence. You have a scar on your body. But now imagine that you are fighting. Maybe you are trying to, you're in war front, yeah. You are fighting. You are throwing your weapon here and there, and then somebody nicked you. See that nick as a failure. That does not mean that you still not kill that person. Are you getting me? But let's say you were nicked, and then because you were nicked, now start cowering like, no, the sword nicked me. Then you have failed. That's when that's when you have accepted failure as a person. But that nick is only a scratch. You still swing your sword and then ensure you defeat that person. Another thing to notice is that every failure contains the seed of a future success. When Thomas Edison, as I said there, was trying to make a bulb, I tried 1,001 times, 1,000 plus times to make a bulb. Every time, in fact, from the initial idea, that failed, the seed of success is already there. The fact that you failed means that it's possible. Let me put it that way. The fact that you tried it and you failed means that it's possible. So don't stop trying. So in that, failure is a seed for success. So you have to just look into it, look deeper and see what you can do better. Look deeper and see what you can do better. And thirdly, the difference between those who thrive and those who don't thrive is not avoiding failure, but using it. Most times you don't want to fail at all costs. No. People that thrive, they know how to use failure. They know how to repackage failure. They know how to learn from failure. They know how to analyze failure. They know how to own failure. They know how to extract the lesson from the failure. They know how to apply that lesson immediately. And that's why they are successful. So the difference between those who thrive and those who don't is not avoiding failure, but using it. So this is a takeaway from this whole session of that we have been talking about. This is the old lesson. This is what takeaway. Failure is not the end of your story. Let that sink in. Failure is never the end of your story. No, it's not. You might experience hiccup. As I've been saying since, failure is like a bump. It's like a nick to a warrior. When a sword nick you on a war front, that's not the end. The battle has not ended yet because you still have life in you. So if you have life in you, the failure has not taken your life. Trust me, that's not the end of your story. That's not the end of your story. It's only a chapter. But I learned that recently from personal experience that most failure is like a chapter in your story. You failed, turn a new leaf, and then start writing again. That chapter has ended. Start writing a new chapter. And ensure that the new chapter you are writing contains the lesson you have learned from the previous one. So that your life will not be like a circle. Imagine you are reading a book and then when you read chapter 1, same story, chapter 2, same story. That's a boring story. So ensure you are learning from it. So failure is like a chapter in a book in your journey. So if you maximize failure, it will propel you further. If you are somebody that have learned how to maximize failure, that failure will propel you further. Way, way further than only success will do. That's my encouragement to you. Maximize failure. Failure is not the end. It is part of the journey, it's part of the story that you are writing. So learn to maximize it and stay blessed. So that will be the end of today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, if there are anything you feel like we can address that we talk on, ensure you put it down in the comment section. And till I see you in the next one, stay blessed.